The hoop scoop, without a doubt, is the Milwaukee Bucks making NBA history with a move that no one saw coming. How about buying out Damian Lillard, paying him to go away so they can win over Giannis this particular summer? This also brings up the issue of loyalty in sports. We'll get into that, but first we have to process what exactly happened. So Damian Lillard had 4 years remaining on his contract, over $110 million, 112.3, I believe it was. And they said, if we buy him out, take the hit, we can spread that salary cap hit over the next 5 years and thus create salary cap space to spend right now and appease Giannis, make him understand that we are making efforts to surround him with more talent. And therefore, because Dame is obviously out all of next season with a torn Achilles, so rather than just have this guy on the books and not have anyone sort of replace him, they said, let's eat his salary, have him go away so we don't have him after next season. They can't get him back. They can't change the salary cap per league rules. So they just say, we'll defer this money, spread it out over several years, absorb the cap hit each of those years, but at least we can make moves to try to win now and keep Giannis. So what they did is they turned around and got Miles Turner from the Pacers to replace Brook Lopez, who signed elsewhere in the Western Conference. And keep in mind, the Pacers and Bucks hate each other. Indiana eliminated Milwaukee in the first round each of the past 2 years. Bucks have actually been eliminated 3 straight years in the first round. So they're worried that Giannis, their franchise cornerstone, is going to demand a trade. So they're doing this now. Is it reckless? Absolutely. But is it sort of trying to send a certain message? Because they also signed Bobby Portis, who Giannis likes. So they get Turner for 4 years, $107 million. He's younger than Brook Lopez, does similar things, but they put up similar stats. And obviously, Lopez much cheaper. But they're willing to eat the salary of Lillard and not have him be able to return to the Bucks at all, just to sign Turner and send the certain message to Giannis. Now, Chris Haynes of NBA .com reporting that Giannis reportedly unhappy with how it all went down, but I think cooler heads will prevail, and he will understand that Dame will get a good opportunity elsewhere, and Dame wasn't going to play on Milwaukee anyway next season, and Dame reportedly is thrilled right now because he's still going to get paid over the next 4 years, but now he can choose the team he goes to and maybe pursue a ring. So as you would imagine, there were shockwaves throughout the league when this went down. And here's some funny ones with Hater Report with a popular meme of someone crying and then being happy. Dame pretending to be upset by the Bucks waving him, but knowing he doesn't have to live in Milwaukee anymore. And then later in the video, yeah, you get the wry reaction. So pretty good stuff. Also, Carmelo Anthony going nuts on his Instagram, shaking my head, business per usual. No loyalty in sports. And this is something we see complained about every now and then. Frankly, we saw it earlier this summer when Tibbs got fired by the Knicks. Is there loyalty in sports? How would you define it? Should there be loyalty? At the end of the day, the Bucks didn't do anything wrong in terms of violating rules. They have the option, as agreed upon with the players union and the league, that they can do certain things and coaches can be fired as long as they're bought out of their contract, even if they didn't do anything wrong. Like Tibbs obviously went deep into the playoffs, the conference finals. We saw what Luka's reaction was after he found out that he was traded to the Lakers and had sort of still a stunned look in that introductory press conference. Even some of the greatest players in the world can get traded. Only a couple guys have no trade clauses. I don't think really loyalty exists. Irony of all this is that the Bucks are doing this to appease a player that has 2 years left on his contract and a third player option because he can always request a trade. And that's what Kevin Durant had done, and they appeased the teams that he selected. I'm sure Phoenix could have got more in terms of a return package, but Houston was one of the preferred destinations. So that's loyalty to me more than anything, when they are a commodity and you don't owe them anything and you can just ship them to anywhere, and you should have an obligation to your fans and ownership to make the best trade possible. But there is a give and take with this loyalty. Frankly, some players just refuse to show up. What did Jimmy Butler pull in Miami? supposedly Heat culture and everything. He quit on the Miami Heat, pouted, got his way after becoming difficult. And he winds up in Golden State, gets to play alongside Steph Curry. Not a bad consolation. And I think it's a two-way street. Coaches, they usually get fired before their contract expires, but they still get paid. They signed up for it. That's just the nature of the beast. And as long as they're paid out, I don't see a huge problem with it, as unfortunate as it is. Same with certain players that get bought out, like Damian Lillard. Frankly, it's great. He's going to get all his money and get to choose his next team, which rarely happens. So there's a give and take. It goes both ways. Players can request trades. Like I said, it's all about Giannis not requesting a trade. So the Bucks, ironically, are doing this to appease him and win him over to prevent a requested trade. So I don't think just the teams control have all the power, because they do appease the players to a certain extent. But yeah, I mean, that's just the nature of most workplaces, right? We can all get laid off and get paid out with severance, so to speak. Let's go to the WNBA now. And once again, media personalities are jumping at the opportunity to criticize the WNBA and further the narrative that women can't support one another. Women are jealous, and the league can't support Caitlin Clark. They're all out to get her. I can see how that's been the case at times. That doesn't apply here. This is all about a headline that got completely misread and out of whack, literally misread. So it's an article that's got passed around and saying, Caitlin Clark was voted by WNBA players as the 9th best guard in the league. That's just bad journalism. That's not the case. This was not an anonymous survey where people said, rank your top 10 and she's consensus number 9. This was an all-star ballot. Now, the irony is maybe it was too close to the Athletics anonymous survey of the NBA, where Tyrese Halliburton of the Indiana Pacers was labeled the most overrated player in the league. That was a blank ballot, and consensus was he got the most votes across the league for those that were contacted for the anonymous survey. But that's not the case. This was a ballot, how the league figures out the all-star teams. Okay, of all the ballots, 50% goes to the fans, 25% to the media, and 25% to the players. The players' ballot, they are given all the guards, and they said pick 4. So of all the guards receiving votes, Caitlin Clark had the 9th most, which, based on this season so far, is not that crazy. Indiana, her team is 8-8, so they're right on the cusp of making the playoffs. She's only played in 9 of those 16 games, and they are 5-4 with their 3-4 without. Yes, she leads the league in assists per game. She also leads the league in turnovers per game. And in 2 of her last 3 games she most recently played, she's combined 6 of 27 shooting. She's had some great moments. She's an all-star caliber player, but I don't blame anyone in the league for voting other players on their ballot of 4 options. If I filled it out, I'm not sure she would be one of my top 4, because team performance matters, durability matters, statistics matter. It's not who's the best. I think she's the best guard in the league. I don't think this is about other women not acknowledging her and won't kiss the ring of Caitlin Clark. This is about who's played the best, who's all-star worthy, and you only get 4 votes for all the guards. As you would imagine, there's some reaction across the landscape of social media and radio airwaves. Let's check out Twitter, or X, via Heat Check. And Dick Vitale, the legendary ESPN college basketball broadcaster, absolutely pure jealousy. The WNBA players voted Caitlin Clark the 9th best guard. Someday they will realize what she has done for all of the players in the W. Chartered planes, increase in salaries, sold-out crowds, improved TV ratings. Dickie B's on a tier by himself. He's an absolute legend, but he just didn't do his homework here, and that's not his fault. The articles, the headlines, everyone chiming in, the trolling on social media, they didn't dive into the details. Outkick, Dan Dockich's show. Dan's a friend, a former colleague at ESPN. I love the guy. I'm a fan. He had Michelle Tavoya as his guest, and they didn't do their homework either.
Women of the WNBA voted Caitlin Clark as the 9th best guard. They sure pay a lot of attention to the 9th best guard. I saw that you put out jealous is the word. I would agree with that. There is still, to this day, a lot of jealousy, and I think maybe it's even getting worse. I do.
America loves her. The fans clearly love her. The media likes her, but the players can't stand her. Ninth best guard in the league. Don't try to give me the excuses of, well, she's been struggling lately or she missed some games with injury. Come on. This is insanity. And I think it's an activist vote by the women of the WNBA who simply cannot stand her success. It's so dumb and it's so childish.
Again, that last phrase, it's so dumb and it's so childish. I get it. That was the case at times last year when she came to the league and stuff. It just doesn't apply here. It doesn't. Based on the All-Star ballot, there's nothing wrong with not having Caitlin Clark as one of your 4 votes if you can only pick 4 guards. If I had it, based on this season and taking into account actually playing games and statistics and team performance, undoubtedly I've had Alicia Gray 1 and Sabrina Ionesco 2. Either order, okay? 1 and 2. Probably Skylar Diggins 3, just based on how good she's been, how good Seattle's been. She's getting some MVP buzz. I don't see it, but and then there's a list of like 5 guards that would get my 4th, that would be in consideration for my 4th vote. Caitlin Clark's one of them, but so is Ryan Howard. So is Brittany Sykes of the Mystics having a great year. Paige Beckers coming on strong. Jackie Young of the Aces. And so I'd probably put Paige there, but Caitlin Clark would be right there. So again, no one thinks she's the 9th best guard in the league. Players don't think that. They've said the right things. They understand what she does for ratings and things like that. This was about only being allowed to vote for 4 guards, and there's nothing wrong with what the players did. The media had her 3rd. I think that was too high. But again, I said 4th would be the absolute highest I'd put her. So that's no issue. Kelsey Plum was 16th, which I'm fine with amongst guards. She's overrated, and she's not having a good season. The headline's not saying league hates Kelsey Plum. She's not the 16th best guard. It's just they're cherry picking, and it's just getting tiresome. I get it. The league is not a finished product. They've had some issues. I get it. But this is not one of them. So let's just be better and not just grab the low-hanging fruit and make it a story and further this narrative that doesn't need to have gasoline poured on it. Fans in the Stands is when we hear from you, our audience, sort of a mailbag segment, and we answer and respond to your comments. Let us know. Join the conversation, please. Let us know what you like, dislike, things you'd rather see more of, less of. I know we all want more Arthur. Who doesn't? But in terms of sports coverage, things like that, and just overall feedback, we welcome it. So let's check out some of the most recent comments on the most recent post prior to this one. Darren J. Love this new channel, Doug. Completely agree. And I don't understand how he hadn't already been permanently banned prior to this. I saw this as his 4th time catching an in-play ball in that same row. This is in response to the Arizona Diamondbacks fan lunging over the outfield wall. They ruled it an out, then they ruled it a double and things like that. And this is while a Diamondbacks left fielder trying to make a play. So he's interfering. And we've later learned more about this gentleman who has since been banned from the stadium for the rest of this season. So he's put in a timeout for this year, and then he'll likely be allowed back in. But yeah, he's having a competition with his buddies. And he's been doing this time and time again. He caught a home run earlier in the game. He's done it many times, and he's been ejected from the stadium in Arizona multiple times. Mark Preston, he caught the Gurriel home run too. He has season ticks, and him and his group of buddies have a competition on as many home runs they can catch. He's caught 24, which is nuts. Agree that fans getting involved are altering outcomes. Alec Thomas, you can see he's frustrated with him as this has happened multiple times with this guy. Yes, he has a competition going on. He likes it. It's one thing he get involved in. I'm just not a fan of it. I think it's pretty lame. You're an adult. You have a glove. What are you doing? He's lunging to the side. He's cutting off other fans. I mean, come on. Like, I'm all for doing cool things, thinking outside the box, forming camaraderie with your friends, but you've been ejected now 3 or 4 times from a stadium. You're banned for the rest of the season. Like, at some point, that line, that invisible line, has to be moved a little bit. But I guess nobody's getting hurt. But you are impacting your own team that you are rooting for. He didn't mean to do that. I know that. But at some point, you've done this so many times, you need to know. You have to have muscle memory with the wall right there. Let us know your thoughts. Like I said, join the conversation. Don't forget to like and subscribe.